Welcome to Dark Truths. Religion Uncovered, a space where we intentionally pause our assumptions and delve into the intricate layers of belief, peeling back the veneer of modern faith to uncover what has been systematically silenced. Tonight, we confront a paradox that has come to define contemporary religion. As belief grows ever louder, that it seems to hear less and less. The cacophony of voices and opinions drowns out the very essence of what spirituality is meant to convey. In the ancient theological thought, silence was not merely the absence of sound, it was a purposeful state of preparation. The sacred act of divine communication was marked by an economy of words. When God spoke, it was deliberate, and the reverberations of those few words had the power to reshape the very fabric of history. Between each revelation, eons could pass, with generations living and dying without new prophetic insight. Silence in that context was an expected reality, nurturing patience and cultivating a deep sense of discernment among the faithful. Consider Moses, who spent 40 years in quietude before he encountered God's voice at the burning bush. Think of Elijah, who found God not in the dramatic display of fire or wind, but in the gentle whisper that caressed his spirit during a time of solitude. Even Jesus, the embodiment of divine wisdom, withdrew into silence for decades, only to emerge with profound teachings meant to resonate through the ages. Revelation was rare, and as a result, it bore immense weight. Fast forward to our modern era, where silence is often perceived as a void, an absence that breeds feelings of abandonment. When prayers go unanswered, many interpreted this as a personal failing or spiritual inadequacy. Consequently, we fill the stillness with sound. Sermons proliferate at an unprecedented rate. Content is generated and disseminated with alarming speed, and opinions inundate the spaces where reflection and listening once thrived. In this environment, God's voice becomes drowned out by endless commentary about God. Theology transforms into an incessant outpouring, and faith itself becomes a cacophonous noise. Ancient theological wisdom would recognize this phenomenon as a state of spiritual displacement. When humanity engages in unending discourse about God, we often neglect the profound act of listening for Him. The sacred texts repeatedly draw a connection between divine encounters and quiet moments. Phrases like, "Be still," and "Know, or in returning and rest you shall be saved," underscore the significance of silence, not as a space of emptiness, but rather as a rich opportunity for focused attention. Modern belief grapples with a discomforting truth. Silence invites us to confront our doubts, our feelings of delay, and the yearning for answers that often seem elusive. Noise has the power to numb these uncomfortable feelings, but numbing is not synonymous with faith. It is merely an avoidance. Ancient believers understood that God's silence did not equate to rejection. Instead, they embraced it as a call to wait. This waiting was not a punitive measure, but a formative process, allowing them to grow deeper in their faith. The prophets, for example, learned the value of restraint through their experiences of silence. The people of Israel gleaned humility in moments of delay. The early church navigated centuries without the closure that many today crave, yet their faith endured. It thrived not because it was constantly fed, but because it was anchored in something far more profound. In stark contrasts, modern belief often misinterprets constant stimulation as a sign of vitality. If God is perceived to be in a continuous state of communication, always affirming and responsive, then belief feels alive. However, a God who never permits silence creates an environment devoid of listening, and it is precisely in that act of listening where true transformation occurs. Silence dismantles the facade of performance that often accompanies modern faith. In moments of stillness, there is nothing to share on social media, nothing to declare as truth, and nothing to defend or justify. There is only the experience of presence, a desire for patience, and a call to trust. Ancient theology revered silence as sacred because it revealed our true motives. Those who genuinely sought God remained, while those who were only seeking reassurance often drifted away. Unfortunately, modern belief frequently resists the introspective nature of silence, too often viewing it as a problem to solve rather than a space to inhabit. Yet Scriptures consistently honors the sanctity of silence, never rushing through it. Even after the resurrection, we observe that Jesus chose to leave his followers with faith in absence rather than continuous visibility, entrusting them, and us wets, the understanding that absence is not a sign of cruelty, but an invitation to trust. It is a profound trust that allows belief to mature without the need for constant reinforcement. However, modern religion seems to tread cautiously around this concept, feeling the need to compensate for perceived spiritual maturity with unnecessary volume. Yet it is vital to remember that increased volume cannot replace genuine revelation. Noise lacks the depth that authentic encounters provide. Constant speech may distract us, but it cannot be a substitute for the profound experience of divine connection. This evening, we are faced with a sobering truth. The question is not merely whether God has stopped speaking, but whether belief, in its compulsion for sound, has ceased to listen. A faith ensnared in a symphony of noise risks missing the revelations that arrive in the stillness, subtle yet profound. Ancient faith understood this reality in ways that modern belief often forgets. As we draw tonight's exploration to a close, we ask the poignant question that ancient theology would pose to modern religion unflinchingly. If God spoke only in silence, would your faith still know how to listen? Thank you for joining us for Dark Truths. Religion Uncovered. We encourage you to share your reflections below. Has belief grown louder in your experience, or has it deepened? Follow us for more.